This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome back. I thought we would never be here.
I know. You mean you wished we would kind of not be.
Mondays are not exciting.
Yeah.
Charlie, waking up from the weekend after having rested and then finally, you know, Sunday evenings are very annoying because then it comes to realization you're going to start work for 5 days on a
What if you were
full
working on
stretch,
Sunday?
Charlie.
God.
Yeah, I work on Sundays, but I'm saying at least in the Saturday, Sunday, you're still in a relaxed mood.
Yes, true.
But the Monday, everyone is zooming in to go to work. But anyway, good morning, Ghana. Thank you once again for joining us here on Newday, your favorite super morning show. We know you won't change the station anytime soon because we plan to rock your morning right from now to about 9 a.m. when we wrap up the show for Afro Tales to take over. But of course, TV3 is also celebrating 20 years. I'm sure you enjoyed music over the weekend. We hit the streets of Osu and people did jam with us. I don't know, Brad, were you there?
I watched from afar.
Right, you definitely did.
At that time of the night, because of witch hunting, I'm unable to settle down to the level of humans. You know, the human
Witch
beings
hunting.
were at that level.
You
But
were high
I was
up
doing
above.
Witch hunting, I was high above.
Above and rising,
I
as
was-
Harriet will
I
say.
was watching from above and I saw all that went on.
It's
Except-
amazing how serious he looks
No, it's
right
true.
now saying what he's
Because he
saying.
takes his business seriously.
I admire that. It's good.
Witch hunting is a very lucrative job. I'm telling
Right.
you, it bears a lot.
And it needs all your full attention.
I'm telling you, you can't
planning.
do that in addition to any other job.
So witch hunting Saturday and Sunday or just Saturday?
No, weekends.
weekends.
The witches are out on weekends. That's what
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solis is very
Maybe I'll
interested.
be-
You should
I-
take
I-
her on
I
one
am
of your
interested.
I
I
will
am
initiate her,
interested.
but she has to come and pay the necessary dues so that
Yeah.
I initiate her into.
Okay, so two things. I have to learn how to start my weekend on Thursday, and then you
You
teach
have
me
to.
how to
Yeah.
witch hunt on the weekends.
Yeah,
Wow,
do
I'm
that.
learning so much already.
All right,
Anyway, guys.
grateful for your time once again this morning. You know, when we live on Fridays, it's like, okay, so we have some 2 days to rest. And then before you realize, Monday is here. And of course, our duty is to serve you and make sure that you become a responsible member of society. Grateful for your time with us once again. Like Amma said, it's a show that is 3 hours from now till 9 a.m. Johnny is joining us soon. And I'm sure you watched Ghana's Most Beautiful yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw the latter part of the show.
Yeah.
It's getting keener and keener. I saw one of the ladies.
It was quite
I always
interesting
like her
yesterday.
smiles. I don't know if...
Which
Apart
one?
from
They all
Talanta,
have
you
beautiful
have-
smiles.
This region girl, she's quite...
Sewa?
Her smiles are very exciting.
Yeah.
Right.
It can actually encourage you to do other things.
Well, I had the privilege of actually joining the ladies last night.
Oh,
It was
really?
quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah.
interesting. Yesterday was Media in Focus,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
then so the ladies had to go through some of the presenters. He had MG, interviewing skills and things like that,
Oh,
and then they
okay.
were talking about things and various issues, social media, relationships, and the like.
And it was
I think
nice.
there was one about being women in politics.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah.
I spoke about women and politics.
I was actually supposed to be their chaperone, but I had to pull out because there was
But
some...
they are
other
not
Are we
challenges.
going
chaperone.
back to this?
Chaperone
We're like
as
how
in
many
living
weeks
with
down?
them.
Yes.
Yes,
We're
it's
still
Like
Right.
9.
Yeah.
9
really?
weeks down.
Yes,
So
also
should they
one.
give you the 5 left? Would you
I'm
consider?
still
No, it's 6
considering.
actually.
No, but you see, the
6
thing is, the truth is, Bright is quite, he's an intelligent.
We
he's
don't
he's
doubt
been in
his
the industry
capability.
for a
No
long
doubt
time.
about
He
that.
has so much knowledge to
When you
impart.
have work
So
to do and you are not doing the work, then what is
It will be
all-
taken
what
from
sort of-
you.
I
Anyway,
thought-
good morning,
I thought
Johnny.
you took
Morning,
calls.
how
are you doing?
Man, I am tired, but I'm alive and
Yes,
well.
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
good.
but it was fun
It
on
was,
Saturday. Kwakese is still Kwakese. Any day.
yeah.
Any day. And Wuta, for me, those were the picks that we had. But yesterday was fantastic
It
as
was.
well.
Yeah.
I was amazed at how the ladies were articulating themselves on issues of media. And
Right.
one would have thought that, well, they are not media personnel, so
They'll be limited.
exactly.
Right.
But
they did
it
very
didn't
well.
At all. It didn't at all.
I think gradually they've come into their own with all the weeks they've been. They become more confident and they are more able to express themselves regarding various issues. So that's a plus. At least that's what GMB can do for you.
A special good morning to
Okay.
our friends and colleagues out there at Akuma FM Piper. No,
Oh, yeah.
Akumapa. Okay.
Connect FM and the rest.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Connect Akuma and the rest.
Stollis.
Right, it's
got all
time.
the news, I
Yes,
know.
I do. It's now time for us to take the news that basically has broken over the weekend. We'll be right back. Thank you very much for staying with us. It's time for morning news here on TV3. I am Solis Rose Corte. Let's get into the details. President of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, His Excellency Alassane Ouattara, will from Monday 16th October, that's today, 2017, begin a 2-day official visit to Ghana. Now, the purpose of the visit is to deepen further the already strong relations between the two countries, as well as explore other areas of cooperation to their mutual benefit. Now, this visit is a reciprocal one to the visit made to Cote d'Ivoire by President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in May this year at the start of his tour of the countries of West Africa. The two presidents and their respective teams are expected to hold bilateral discussions at the Flagstaff House today, Monday, 16th October 2017, after which the two leaders will address a joint press conference. President Akufo-Addo will later this evening host his Ivorian counterpart to an official dinner. Prior to President Ouattara's departure on Tuesday, October 17, 2017, the two countries will sign a bilateral agreement and inaugurate a joint commission for the implementation of the recent judgment passed by the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, ITLOS. Well, meanwhile, the Accra Regional Police Command has announced temporal closure of some roads in the capital ahead of the state visit of the Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara on Monday, that's today, October 16. The Kwame Nkrumah Avenue towards the Central Business District at a Mills Highway from Jamestown towards Osu and the Liberation Road towards the Central Business District will be closed to traffic from 11 a.m. until the ceremony is over. A release signed by the Regional Police PRO ASP Ifiatenye therefore urged motorists to note the diversions and plan alternative routes before embarking on their journeys. To some more stories, and TV3's Mission program starts airing on your screens every Saturday and Sunday on News 360. The program is to help improve access to healthcare and education. This season promises to bring to viewers compelling stories from deprived communities and demand answers from duty bearers.
They tell me that they provide about 80% of their family needs, yet there is little support for them.
Access to safe drinking water has a direct link on the well-being of a population.
Your authoritative source of development-oriented reporting, Mission Ghana, is back on your screens. Beginning this Sunday, TV3 will provide a voice and platform for the socially excluded in deprived communities.
We're ever ready this time to get to the people and bring the stories home. But what will change a little bit is that this time when we come back, we're going to engage duty bearers to tell us, to give us timelines as to how to meet those challenges and the needs of the people.
Abraham Asari is supervisor, TV3 Mission Projects.
Seeking responsiveness from actors, state actors especially, to respond positively to the issues that we'll be bringing out through these stories. Part of this project, we started training all our reporters. We have trained our cameramen, we have trained our editors, we have trained our producers, to be ready for this project. And indeed, they are ready. The difference this time around is that this project will not only be on TV3, it will be on all our radio stations. It will be on 3FM, it will be on Omia FM, it will be on Connect, it will be on Akuma as well.
Join us every Saturday and Sunday on News 360 as we throw the spotlight on the health and educational needs of the socially excluded in society. The program would demand responsiveness and accountability from duty bearers. Mission is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, DFID, and the European Union.
To other stories, and fire has ravaged the Tebri-Jansa Junior High School at Mpasaso in the Ahafo South district of the Ashanti region. The incident has compelled pupils to join other nearby schools in the community for classes.
The fire destroyed the school building and reading materials. Authorities have shut the school down to explore avenues to make classrooms available before classes resume. The cause of the fire is not immediately known, but residents suspect some irate residents might have set the school ablaze. Head teacher of the school, Augustine Saki, appealed for help to put the school back in shape.
There is a story out there that angry repeated students burned down. That is not true. There are so many issues that can be attributed to the burning of the school. But we can't actually say that it's a repeated student that burned down the school. That is the story that is out there, which is not true.
Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Nana Ajman Prempe, joined the MP for the area, Francis Adabo, and the District Chief Executive, Joseph Dapar, to inspect the extent of damage at the school.
Almost all the students at Mpasaso are in the house now because there was a fire disaster and the whole classroom blocks are burnt. We were there to see, we call on the chiefs and people of the area, and we're going to see how NADMO with forestry will come and then help them reconstruct the classroom block for them to go to school. Then we were also there to give advice as to how we can prevent disasters.
They also inspected progress of work on a weak bridge on the Mpasaso-Kusu Road, as well as the Sabranum community, which got flooded after a downpour. The officials assured the communities of support, but entreated residents to observe safety measures.
We are also appealing for expansion of the gutter. The gutter is too narrow, and I think the water coming down is so voluminous, so we need to get a bigger gutter. And we hope when we do that, the inhabitants here will also assist us so that the disaster will not come anymore.
Let's do some more stories. And Cabinet, after a meeting on Thursday, approved the implementation of the cylinder recirculation policy. The new model means that LPG bottling plants will be sited away from highly populated areas and commercial centers. Now, the plants will basically take care of the packaging, the branding, the procuring, and the maintaining of empty cylinders to be distributed to consumers and households through retail outlets and stations.
The decision was arrived at a cabinet meeting held on Thursday, October 12, 2017, and comes on the back of Saturday's deadly blast at a gas filling station at Atomic Junction. That explosion has so far claimed at least 7 lives and injured over 100 persons. This again raised widespread concern from the public over the lax safety standards of some LPG and petrol filling stations across the country. Ghana has seen about 8 major explosions since 2014, and in 2015 Ghana witnessed the June 3 fire and flood disaster at a petrol station near the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, which claimed over 150 lives and injured dozens of others. The directive with regards to the LPG stations is to be carried out after a risk assessment of the current infrastructure has been carried out. A task force is to be deployed within 30 days to undertake the exercise. Information Minister Mustafa Abdul Hamid in a statement said henceforth the cylinder recirculation model of liquefied petroleum gas LPG distribution be implemented. This model means that LPG bottling plants will be sited away from congested commercial and population centers and will procure, brand, maintain and fill empty cylinders to be distributed to consumers and households through retail outlets. Low-risk stations will be designated for the supply of gas to vehicles. The statement added that this whole exercise must be completed within 1 year. Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, reacting to the new directive, assured of his outfit's support.
The clear message from His Excellency is that it's not going to be business as usual. The President has said never again and never again. And should it happen again, the heads of the agencies would have to answer to the government why it happened. We are hoping and praying that it wouldn't happen, but importantly, we are also working to be sure that it does not happen.
Now to some transport news, and the Adenta-Accra Bus Rapid Transport Corridor will begin operations next month. A new $3.5 million bus terminal, the fourth for the Ayalolo bus service, is near completion at Adenta.
The Ayalolo bus service commenced on the Amasaman-Tudu corridor in December last year amidst many challenges including low patronage and improper login by drivers. 10 months on, the service is ready to commence operations on its new Adenta-Accra corridor. The Minister of Transport, Kweku Ofori-Esiama, inspected progress of work at the new Adenta terminal being constructed at the cost of $3.5 million from an HSBC London loan. When completed, the facility is expected to host 60 bus parking spaces, 70 parking spaces for park and ride, 1 supermarket, 14 offices, a commercial building for restaurant, and a banking hall.
We made allocation for future development. In this future development, we can accommodate a bus wash.
As at the end of August, the Ayalolo bus service had carried an average of 8,000 passengers daily on its Amasaman-Tudu corridor with the use of 48 buses. However, 185 buses are still not in operation.
Yes, we have 185. Now that this terminal is completed, we will sit down with the GAPT people and see how many we need to put on this route so that at least we'll be able to get them to run as well.
Well, he may be brooding over the seizure of his containers of unregistered mackerel, but Kofi Dochi and his Dochisco Ventures have more troubles ahead. Now, the Food and Drugs Authority says the importers are to be arraigned before court for rules violation. Now, Peter Kwa Adato reports the importers are again to pay for the cost involved in destroying the products.
TV3 on Wednesday, October 3, 2017, broke the story of some unknown and unwholesome mackerel on the Ghanaian market. The product was intercepted at an outlandish area in Ofanko, Accra, by the Mile 7 District Police. At least 4,500 cartons of Asahi mackerel were handed over to the Food and Drugs Authority following TV3 news report. The FDA test later confirmed that the products were indeed not registered and again unwholesome. The owner reported to the police the same day but was admitted to bail together with 4 of his drivers detained earlier. According to the FDA, the importers violated Section 142 of the Public Health Act, Act 851 of 2012, and were liable for sanctions.
It's so clear in the law that no one has to import products into the country if it is not registered. It's clearly stated in the law, and so it is an offense. And the penalties are such that you can go to prison for a term of 6 months or more, and you will be fined some penalty units, or both.
The authority on Friday, October 13, completed destroying the total consignment of the seized Asahi mackerel. But who pays for the cost involved?
The importer is going to pay for that. And apart from that, he will be fined as well. So we are doing that at his cost.
Earlier on Thursday, the FDA regional office in Kumasi seized at least 500 cartons of the So Nice mackerel, which had already left Accra, prior to the interception of the Asahi at Ofanko.
We haven't established that it's unwholesome yet. It's still in the laboratory, and the results will come out.
The head of Food Enforcement Department of the FDA, Marian Lovelace Johnson, urged the public to be wary of So Nice mackerel or all unknown canned foods.
Now, the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, has launched the first iron folic acid supplementation program in the Bono-Ahafo region. The aim is to improve the health of adolescent girls in basic schools. Over 360,000 adolescent schoolgirls in the 3 regions in the northern part of Ghana and Bono-Ahafo region are going to benefit from the first phase of the exercise.
The First Lady was accompanied by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Nsia Sari, the Bonafu Regional Minister, Asuma Chemi, including other health officials who came in their numbers to grace the occasion at the Sunyain Jubilee Park. Rebecca Kufuado said there was a need to address the challenges of malnutrition among newly born babies and largely the health complications of adolescent girls. She noted lack of proper nutrients largely affects the vitality of adolescent girls, hence the introduction of iron folic acid tablet supplementation to the adolescent girls. According to the First Lady, every adolescent girl in basic school will be provided with iron folic acid tablets before the end of the year.
Investing in the youth and in our young girls is indeed investing in the future generation. And I do not think that it is mere coincidence that the STAR supplementation program is happening at the same time as the introduction of the free senior high school. These efforts are complementary. They both aim to maximize the investments in education and ultimately build a healthy, productive, and high-performing generation.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Nsia Sari, in his address said many Guinean adolescent girls are suffering from anemia, leading to poor growth and early deaths.
The overall aim of GITS program is to contribute to the reduction in the anemia among in-school and out-of-school adolescents through weekly direct iron folic acid supplementation.
And moving on, the head of the psychiatric unit at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital described the state of mental health care in the country as national crisis. Now, Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entwi said the lack of commitment in prioritizing mental health is compelling most patients to buy their own drugs. She spoke with our Ashanti regional correspondent, Ibrahim Abubakar, in Kumasi.
Ghana's mental health is supposed to be free, and when we say mental health is free in Ghana, what that means is that people can walk to the hospitals, get treated for free, get medications for free. We are no longer getting those free medications to support our patients. In that case, because of that, people are also relapsing very quickly. They come, there is no money to buy medication. You see them fine this month. The following month, they come back and they have relapsed. And that is why we are making a lot of noise just during this mental health week celebration, that the government should turn his eye and come and look at us. It should turn and give attention to mental health so that we can get back on our feet. People with the disease or with the disorder can be well and function in various capacities. So, in effect, you are saying the government or Ghana has not prioritized mental health care? In fact, that is how we see it. If we keep calling out to you and you don't listen to us, we don't hear any feedback, then we will say that it is not your priority. But we are saying that please make it your priority now, because now it is getting bad and bad and bad. How has the statistics been over the years? Are we seeing an increase in mental health patients, or we are rather seeing a decrease? We are seeing increase from time to time, and this increase is partly because people are rather relapsing even more. People feel that they are in some form of difficulties, they are not getting jobs. Some stresses of some form are always precipitating factors for mental illness. So finally, I know you were talking about the inadequate medication. How do you handle the situation in this crisis as you define it? For now, what we are doing is that patients have to buy out of their pocket. At the extreme cases, or in the extreme cases, doctors, nurses at the department have to buy medications for some of these patients out of our own pocket. But that is not a sustainable way of solving the problem. Those who can afford go out and buy, and usually they are at high prices, and most of our patients cannot afford them. Thank you very much. I've been engaging with Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entwi, who is the head of psychiatric department here at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. She's saying, indeed, the government is not prioritizing mental health delivery in the country. My name is Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
And from the studios here, I am Solace Rose Corte. Let's get some info as to what to expect by way of weather for the next few hours.
Welcome back. It's time for headlines now. We'll start off with Ghanaian Times. It says, tribunal case has nothing to do with Asante-Hene. That's coming from Ghana International Bank. Also, President Akufo-Addo, Alassane Ouattara meet today in Accra. Then police closed major roads in Accra today, obviously ahead of his visit, the president of Cote d'Ivoire's visit. We'll deal with troublemakers. That's RGP sending warning to residents of Bimbila. That's a story on page 17 of Ghanaian Times.
Anyway, welcome to Ghana, President Ouattara.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So we have a vista around us.
Yes, we have a vista.
Yeah. And the traffic that comes with it is my problem.
Yeah, it's okay. There is a triangular traffic closure, right? The Nkrumah Avenue, the High Street, Tamils High Street, and the other one that crosses.
Yeah.
So it's triangular. There's going to be a gridlock, if you ask me, because already around those areas,
there's already traffic.
Yes. So if you're moving from home out into town, you know,
you have to take
you
this
have
into
to monitor, consider
and
these things before you move out, because it will be tough.
Yeah.
It will be tough. But IGP says what? It will deal with troublemakers.
The Bimbila guys.
But I got another school of thought that says that it wasn't necessarily for violence. That was why the musketry was being fired.
Right.
But they were, I think it was as part of a funeral
procession,
ceremony. I don't know, but of course people would always take advantage of the situation and push
and misbehave.
Yes, so it's a good call by the IGP that he will deal with people, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that at least I don't know whether I'm happy, but we wanted to hear more about this whole tribunal case and Ghana International Bank. Yes, but they are saying the case itself has nothing to do with Asante-Hene. What it has to do is with their worker, who's the Mr. Arthur, who's been questioned and under a tribunal, whatever proceedings. But definitely this doesn't clear whatever case they have with Asante-Hene as it stands, whether it's money laundering or not. But again, this is just to reinforce that the story that broke currently, as the tribunal sits, they're not sitting on the case of money laundering. Right. They're sitting on the, way their worker carried out the proceedings, because he didn't follow the right protocol. So that has to be cleared out.
That's agreeable. Yeah. But I also chanced upon the UK. I think there's a law, crime proceeds, 2002 or so, and there's also the money laundering law. That, and I had some lawyer explain to me the very detail. Granted that that's not what we're talking about. But then where the witness, or Mr. Arthur, goes to court to mention the name of the revered king, it brings to question. I've been asking, and people have been ridiculing me on social media that, well, I should go to Kumasi and ask us. So I said, well, I don't know why nobody is talking about it. Perhaps there's some customs and tradition that forbids people to talk about it. If there is, let's know. For me, I mean, yes, and
you just want to know genuinely why this matter doesn't seem to be spoken about like others would have.
Exactly, and perhaps Meisha also doesn't want to lend credence to this, so they would rather not respond to the issue. But whatever it is, I don't think that smearing the Asante-Hene with whatever it is the best that we could possibly have done. I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. My little worry, though, is that, yes, £350,000 is nothing for the Asante-Hene. But then if what we're told in the media is true, why would we have that in a taxi? Such a huge amount of money, because for me it's a huge amount of money. In the eyes of the UK government, is a huge amount of money. It may not be anything for the Asante-Hene. In fact, it isn't. But why would we have that? Not through a transfer means, a legal transfer means from a bank to bank, but in a taxi. It raises questions. And you know that previously there have been a couple of rumors about it. So if this turns out to be true, I don't know, but I'm just saying, I'm just asking.
All right. Once the bank is out and said that, well, whatever they are doing has nothing to do with this, maybe perhaps we leave it at that.
For now, we will. Anyway, let's move on to the Finder. Also has stories saying fallout from gas explosions. Drivers blame Atiabo gas, and there's an insert of is it Shafiu Mohammed? He's the chairman of LPG Truck Drivers Association. Also, driver's mate with no LPG training caused gas leakage. That's the interim NPA report. Then again, President Ouattara begins 2-day visit of Ghana today. Then finally, domestic tax revenue records 17% increment in 6 months. That's a story on page 5 of the Finder.
The drivers say what?
The drivers are saying the trouble gas, is
well,
responsible because their gas has higher propane levels. As to whether there's been scientific research into that, because the gas definitely is what we've been using all along. Definitely, if it has high propane, there are consequences, but we can't blame that primarily as the cause of this particular gas explosion, because it's leaked in other places and probably they haven't caused these explosions. So yes, there may be some credence to that, but is that really what caused this? That's where I have a problem.
If you are not policing the system well, and the system gets messed up, and because it is, we all know what it is. Look, I'll give you a classic example. When you have this conservancy laborers come to your home to come and extract your, sorry about it if you're having breakfast, but when the conservancy laborers come to your home to want to come and pull your fecal matter and go and throw it away, you see how they take their time to tighten all the notes and the knots, because they know it has a pungent smell, and if it spills, it will disturb your home. So they take their time to tighten it. Why can't we take our time to tighten the notes when we are offloading gas and fuel? Sometimes the guy just comes, he fixes the thing, and before you know,
it's just
and then you have fuel dripping. It's the same way when fuel starts dripping, the same way gas will also leak. And when it leaks, it has repercussions. So stop talking about propensity and whatever it is. This is what we have brought onto ourselves.
John, there are two stories on the Finder. The one's talking about the drivers blaming the trouble gas for it, and then the other one is an interim report. MP has already issued an interim report and suggesting that the driver's mate who had no knowledge about LPG leakage might have caused that. So for me, I guess the question to ask is, even if the propane, the trouble gas has a higher propane percentage, and the attendants at the various stations are well trained and know what to do, can we still have explosions?
Right.
Okay, we're told that the propane causes explosions when they leak. If it is the case, but these attendants are trained, okay, per the MPA report, can we still have explosions? So I think those are the questions to us. So the key thing is that I am happy that in one of the recommendations of cabinet to deal with it, they are now supposed, fire service is not supposed to train, not or give certificate not to the station, but every worker there should be trained and has a certificate to show that I've gone through training and I can perform.
And even that, they're supposed to be supervised to do that. But Senior Bright, even more worrying is the growing phenomenon of having drivers who have petrol or diesel vehicles swap to want to use LPG gas. The taxi drivers do it. We have private vehicles that do it. Sometimes, if you ever pick a taxi, you can smell that the gas is leaking, which means that the swap was not properly done.
They swap from petrol to gas.
To gas, yes. Because they claim that there's often
they are done, petrol. The engineering is done locally.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
It's done here. So that they say it's cheaper and that petrol gets short any time soon or frequently. So they will have to go and use gas. But that's a matter of concern for the fire service. It's a matter of concern for the NPA, for the EPA as well. They are supposed to, and I doubt they are ignorant about this. They know about it. But you see, everybody has kept quiet. They are waiting for a time when a hypothetical situation, touch wood, where a taxi is stuck in a long trail of traffic, and then it's leaking, it blows up and affects everybody. Then you have long meetings and highbrow speeches and camera opportunities, and they'll start talking about it. They know about these things. If you clear a car from the port that's supposed to be using petrol and diesel, or diesel, and then 2 years later it becomes
something else.
You must be concerned about it.
And the excuse the taxi drivers give is that when you smell it and you tell, I smell gas in your car, he says, oh, I just went to fill it. But I think it's not an excuse because not only are you endangering my life, but your life as well.
Yes.
And I mean, when we buy gas and you're driving a car, isn't there a way of it?
Exactly.
I don't know how that works, but definitely it's not safe. So we can't just talk about it. If you pick a taxi that has this issue, you, the passenger, should take it upon yourself to refuse to sit in the car. If he wants to die, allow him to die alone, but don't put yourself in harm's way as well.
Even the guys who fix the fridges,
yes.
when they come and refill your gas, they tell you to leave it for some time for the gas to settle. I don't know how scientifically, that is, but for the gas to settle.
That only makes sense.
Then you have somebody go to the gas station, fill it, and then it's on a bumpy pothole road, and then you are sitting there comfortably.
There's a story in the Business Journal that I'm just about it.
It does. It says street trading taking over our street. When will the practice stop? Street traders in Accra control an amazing multi-billion CD business. Indeed, they do.
You know why I'm interested in this story?
No.
At every election that we have gone through in this under this 92 constitution, political parties have taken advantage of these guys who sell everything from toy guns to machetes to dogs. The last time I saw Wachi being sold in traffic.
Wachi.
Yes, King, now everything.
On the go.
They tell them, oh, when we come to power, we'll take you off the streets. And it's been on and on and on. And what is interesting is that every 4 years, every 8 years, the number on the street increases. It is amazing. It is amazing. I am just praying that this time we see these young men and women who are selling, being employed by the one factory, one district thing. Other than that, I guess we'll get to a point one day we might not be able to use our street because you'll be driving and somebody will come and then just crash your windscreen and point a gun at you. Everywhere you pass, even at the toll booth on the Tema motorway. I mean, when you see the picture, it is amazing, the number of people.
It is. Somebody told me that some of these guys do these things because they want to escape the tax net from the AMA or whichever authority, LADMA, whichever one it is. So they go just to the wholesale, buy the things, and then instead of going to the market, they would rather, they would rather go there and they want quick market and everything.
And so government should start looking at taking taxes from even those on the street. When they start doing that, they may move, they may relocate.
You will be encouraging them to do, because the motorway is not a place for you to.
Agreed. But maybe, I mean, if the point was to escape something and now you're still going to have to pay, but you have to move to the right place, then we'll find a way of, discouraging this practice because it's terrible.
It is not good at all.
The ceremonial
streets.
It is embarrassing.
See, everywhere.
President Ouattara will visit today, so they will clear everybody. When Mr. Ouattara goes,
everyone
they will
is
be
allowed
back
to come
again.
back. Anyway,
We do eye service in this country.
The last time I saw furniture being sold in traffic.
Don't even go that back.
That's true.
Please, let's rant.
I saw furniture.
Let's move away from this discussion.
6-seater. No, yes.
You made like the photo. You saw the photo. Or
I saw furniture being sold in traffic. The gentleman had packed the 6 others by the roadside and it was carrying one of them and showing it to the driver.
For display. Guys, anyway, it's time for Daily Run. We're talking about cabinet issuing a directive to prevent future gas explosions in recent light and recent happenings.
9.
I don't know what you think about that. 9 directives. Even one to carry out. I hope it's not just speaking. They actually put it to action.
We were told that all the mining licenses have been, halted because of Galamsey. But we heard that some people have
special
now
people.
in this new one we're told that all construction for gas and fuel has been halted. We want to see.
Oh, we will see.
Okay.
Mr. President, we want to see. How far?
Anyway, it's time for Daily Rants with George on the streets of Accra. Let's hear what you have to say about this.
The incessant gas explosions faced by the country obviously is a great worry to all and sundry. A cabinet meeting has introduced 9 safety measures to ensure sanity within the fuel distribution chain nationwide and ostensibly curb explosions. Aside these measures, the president has also ordered the implementation of the cylinder recirculation model of LPG distribution. And so the question is this really going to curb explosions in the country? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking. Were you expecting these directives from cabinet?
Because I think the only thing that must have changed this time around is that the government is not setting up a committee.
Okay.
So, fortunate enough, we had a cabinet meeting subsequent to the incident, and then they came up with a whole lengthy strategies to prevent, to avoid, to curb, to straighten. Okay, that's fine. Me, I'm not amazed. This is Ghana. We all live in GH. There's been so many incidents that have happened, reoccurred, and every single time it occurs, we have either a committee being set up or some meeting sort of, and then they come up with a whole lot of lengthy, written, wise policies.
Talk shop,
so exactly, supposed about to be implemented. And then we continue to witness whatever thing happens. It just keeps on reoccurring. So I'm not amazed.
I'm actually surprised. I expected something extraordinary. You see, this thing happened last week, and in a haste, they just want a new policy implemented. Isn't it funny? In Ghana, we don't solve issues. In Ghana, we don't solve issues. We move the problems to another time.
Well, like we ship the boat.
Exactly. It's like Abruwe una di Abruwa Asia 9. A year and we to Asheda. It's just like you've changed the date for the funeral. This cylinder recirculation isn't going to solve the problem. There are problems that's actually making these fires, among other things, happen. And you tell me now we will fill cylinders, put it at stations, and the customers will go for it, and fire won't happen. You think that will solve? Whilst these cylinders will be carried from their plants, preferably going to be a village outside Accra, they'll be carried. These cylinders with gas will be carried, traveled, and they'll be traveled with to Accra. And you want to tell me it is safe for the citizens on the road? It is safe for them. The customer comes to the station, he or she wants to buy gas worth 30 cedis. Just because it is filled, it is full, it is 74 cedis. You think you are being fair to them?
It's a good move by the government, considering the fact that there have been 8 explosions in the past 3 years,
so you think
this one being severe.
What's severe about this? This station. Relax. This station has been located there over 30 good years, and people are encroaching. And you tell me it is the fault of the filling station. Once we have EPA, we have AMA, we have Town Council. They take their revenues every month, every year. We pay planning the whole every year, and you are there. And you want to tell me, no, I'm cool, but you want to tell me it's the fault of the LPGMC. What did he do? His station is there. Somebody built close to it. The rights authority should have made sure that person is pushed out, and he didn't do it.
I understand the whole idea that we want to build all these plants away from commercial areas. But population also grows to meet all these facilities.
So who is responsible for that? So why do you put it on the LPG people? They have built. They comply with all rules and regulations. They pay all that they have to pay. And people are coming in. The people responsible should make sure, Madam, untimin ton adie we hase yeton gas. People do Indomie around gas filling station.
People are there, people just come in and just come in and so around, and you do virtually nothing about it. You've been in this country, there have been 8 explosions, and the government just can't sit idle. You need to take steps to curb this situation. You can't sit down for there to be explosions, people die, property is lost day in, day out. No. This is what the government is saying. Fine, there's going to be cylinder recirculation. So if you are in the business, you have to come up with new ideas to sell. You have to come up with new ideas. For instance, look at photography. We're in the era of analog. We change to digital. So you have to come up with. You just have to adjust. You have to adjust. It's going to solve this.
I think honestly, looking at Sly's argument, I think he's a little bit biased in the form of.
Because he's part of YMC.
No, you're a stakeholder. You are a direct stakeholder of this very industry, and apparently.
So you think this is a good policy?
No, I'm not saying it's good.
So what is it? No, it's either good or bad. What is it? Is it good or bad? No, is it good or bad? No, he said it's good. Which I no. Let me
ask Jambo this question. Is it going to solve the incessant gas explosions?
No. This is what I'm saying.
Is it going to solve?
This is what I'm saying. I think that the government should be able to have a stakeholder consultation.
Okay.
All right, so that as together they can all be able to come up with something constructive in resolving this whole issue. Me, I am not an expert. I'm not an energy expert.
No, but you have common sense.
But at the very little thing I have heard, pedestrian things they've been saying is that there are certain stations that have not been situated at right places.
Yeah. Okay?
So if that be the situation, what is the way forward? How do we correct them? Obviously, we cannot continue to leave those.
What you are saying, you don't understand what you are saying because
and those
we
that
have
are
been given 12 months to implement this. Where are we going to say
allow them to cite at the wrong places?
Directive number 6 says it's going to call for the cessation until further notice of facilities that are intended for gas stations.
They have to.
But what about facilities that have met the requirements that can meet the requirements?
Do you know the requirement? Do you know the activities of the requirement? Whatever the requirement is, you should also understand that location is a part of it.
So who gave them the location?
So in any case,
that they should
if the government apparently finds you to be capable of citing your station,
the government or the people responsible,
or whoever the people responsible,
exactly. So don't say the government
of citing at any place.
People,
you need to be.
These same people are the people who regulate them.
It's very simple.
Let me say. So like I was saying, every year your license is renewed. The MPA, the AMA, fire service comes, several licenses. You want to keep quiet. You want to tell me every year for the past 5 years these people have been operating, and it is now that they found out it has been located wrongly.
We should continue to.
So whose fault is that?
So who's
I'm trying to make a point.
So you've been watching over the past 20 years.
So whose wrong is that?
Is it too late? Is it too late to correct?
So what makes it a wrong location? What makes it a wrong location? What makes it a wrong location?
A wrong location is when you are located at any place where people are committing.
Who met who there?
George,
the hostels met the gas filling station, and now you want them to move.
Last year.
No, who met who there? No, who met who there? No, who met Jumbo? Who met who there? Who met who there? The schools, the hostels, actually.
So each of them.
So they are not competent.
Aren't
they being paid money?
Last year.
Aren't they being paid money? Don't say wait for Ghana. What are you talking about?
George, to cut a long story short, this cellular circulation thing, these explosions happened at 4 station stores, gas stations, not in an individual home. So the government putting up procedures. Okay, fine. Let us be cylinder. It's going to stop it in a way. Exactly, because this explosions happens in. Who doesn't know what to say? These explosions happen in gas stations. No. There are 4 stations. There are 4 stations that these explosions happen. Not some. It's a gas station. So if there's
now I can understand why Sly is so biased. You know what? Instead of him looking at reducing the number of these fire happenings and all that, that is what we are thinking of.
You think I don't do what I have to do?
Talking about stopping it. I mean, really, in a realistic sense,
let me tell you, before you discharge,
can we really stop fire in this life of ours?
Before you discharge, you have to contact fire service. I call them, they don't come. What do I do? I do what I have to do. If I do what I have to do and the authorities don't add up, isn't it going to be a waste? What are you talking about?
I know Directive number 6 says the MPA will, let's say, recruit 200 safety auditors, to just go around and check all these things. Does that mean that thing wasn't done earlier?
You see my point?
Most definitely.
So what's the use then?
Most definitely.
What's their use then?
May say,
should we always improvise when there's a problem?
Ghana.
And
there's something we say,
defending
it.
You're here defending. Sankofa Adianyansa won in the past. Yakofa Adianyansa won. Sankofa percent. Don't just go take anything.
Okay, so we should allow you to continue to start a wrong location.
Don't take gibberish. Because garbage in, garbage out. This is what you are doing. You are putting garbage in and you get garbage out.
No, George, before you speak.
So should we always be repeating ourselves?
I want you to pose a question to Sly. Sly should tell us the way forward.
Okay, so what's the way forward?
My way forward. Sit with the
constructively.
What? Are you in my head? I'm in my head. Let me be constructing myself, my brethren. See, sit with the stakeholders of LPG MCs. Let them plan with you. You see, we have issues. I thought you asked me.
You are in the industry. What plan do you guys have?
So the plan we have is to improve upon our current ways of activity, meaning that we want the authorities to be serious about how things are handled.
Are they not getting serious now? If you want the authorities to be serious, they are getting serious now.
What about 2 years ago?
They are getting serious now by telling you that we are citing at the wrong location.
You see what I'm saying?
That we are taking
2 years ago, what happened?
Is this not serious enough for you?
These agitations from 2 years ago, and they haven't been minding us.
But you know,
what I said, you understand it.
Even explosions happen more in houses than talking about stations.
Oh no!
You don't know. You are naive. You don't know. You're just making justifications. Putting English together. Every death is death.
Just forget
Let's control it.
Talking about
let's not be all that we die. Is that what you're saying?
Let's control
all that we die.
What do you make of government directives to ensure that you censor gas explosions in the country? Let's see your thoughts. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's at News TV3. Thanks for watching.
The Times begins the morning and says, we will deal with troublemakers. IGP warns residents of Bimbila. Police closed major roads in Accra. And the reason President Akufo-Addo Alassane Ouattara meet in Accra today. The photograph is captured here. Daily Graphic, 6 police officers caught on video collecting money from drivers. National security meets Parliament over Libya ISIS report. The Ivorian president visit is also captured. The Statesman says illegal tertiary institutions face closure. Minister of Education has served notice. Will soon clamp down on non-accredited tertiary institutions. The Heritage says gas stations in public places, more explosions imminent. Comes with a photograph of some of the stations. Business Day revenues short by 3.2 billion cedis as each Ghanaian owes 4,776. The Punch, CID boss in trouble due to retire in January, being forced to resign. That's the story. And then the Business Journal, street trading taking over our streets. When will the practice stop? Street traders in Accra control an amazing multi-billion city business. Those are some of our stories here on the newspapers I have. My guest this morning is former Member of Parliament for the Ablekuma Central Constituency, a member of the NDC, Honorable T.T. Chai, Chai. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time. Let's start this morning. A quick look at your party's reorganization, and then we can touch other stories here. Now, the Daily Guide has a story, NDC scraps fraudulent biometric. Now, the opposition NDC has resolved to scrap the biometric registration undertaken for its members ahead of the 2016 general elections, which it lost miserably to the then NPP. Leadership of the party has now decided to conduct what it has termed re-registration for all the members before the commencement of the exercise to elect new party officers from polling station to national levels. The NDC took the decision at the National Executive Committee meeting last Thursday at its headquarters in Accra. The paper says security was very tight, with NEC members being screened before the meeting. Let me start with you. So these are very landmark decisions, but we're told that security was that tight and that some people were also driven away from the venue grounds. Is that what happened?
Thank you very much, and let me say good morning to your viewers, and also to commend you on your 20th anniversary activities. Saturday, Sunday, I was glued to some of your programs, and it clearly shows that you are on course. But we, the guess your shows are still waiting for our 7S, and I believe management is listening. It's very, very important.
All right.
Yeah, the NDC as a political party is going through some form of restructuring. Definitely after every elections, the party needs to sit down, reconvene, and then see how best to reorganize itself. And for us as supporters of the party, we are very happy, excited that the party is showing some form of resilience in terms of uniting members. And for us, that is the way forward. The last meeting was very important in the sense that it came out with certain landmark decisions that will help all party faithfuls to know the way forward. Yes, there were so many reportages in the media, some of which were just to tarnish the good work that the party has done. You know, when we talk of NEC meetings, we have specific members of NEC. And, you know, during the reportage, it was reported that Atuahoe was had to leave the meeting because he was asked to drop his phone.
Is he a member of NEC?
He's not a member of NEC. He was nowhere to be found.
He didn't attend the meeting?
Even around the meeting. So these were reportages just to mar the good work that our national executives have gone to do. And I believe that the good people of this country are all seeing what is happening. But the most important thing is the timetable that has been outlined. And for me, it is very, very critical in the reorganization effort. I believe that currently most of the regional executives in the various regions are working very hard to ensure that by January, reorganization of the branches will start in earnest. And as the party rightly said, it will be used as a form of re-registration, so that some of the things that occurred in the past in terms of our biometric registration can be put behind us, because most of the problems that we have could be attributed to that particular biometric registration. So the NDC as a political party is on course. Our members are excited. We are all going to involve ourselves in the reorganizational effort. And if you look at the timetable, between 27th and 28th January, we'll be having our branch elections, followed by our constituency elections in March. That is ending of March. And then the first week of June, we'll be having our regional youth, women, and Zongo caucus elections. And then in June, we'll be having our regional elections all over the country. And then, God willing, on the 13th to 14th July 2018, we'll be having our national executive elections. So for us as party members, we are very excited that our leaders have put in place mechanisms to ensure that we position ourselves for the 2020 elections, which the NDC wants to wrestle power from the failed MPP administration.
This NEC meeting, how well does it address the seemingly divided front? We saw from the fallout from the work and people who are beginning to show their heads at ready to lace their boot to lead the party, suggesting that there are cracks within. Does this NEC meeting resolve all those differences?
Well, when we say cracks, for me, I beg to differ. You know, every political party is made up of people from diverse backgrounds, okay? And when it comes to party reorganization, party elections, yes, people aspire to lead the party in various positions. And definitely, party members will also align to each person who wants to lead the party. And if that amounts to cracks, then I beg to differ. Because that rather energizes members of the party, motivates them to even work together.
If a party organizes a work and some are questioning why a particular person is leading the work, others aren't there, it doesn't show cracked.
Well, I beg to differ. I was not part of the Tamale work, but the one we did in Accra, you saw a lot of party bigwigs attending that particular program. Yes, in the Tamale work, for instance, one will talk about proximity. It was difficult for a lot of our party bigwigs are within Accra. And so therefore, when Accra is organizing a walk, definitely, you see all the big shots within the party attending. There are no cracks in the party. What we have is that people who are interested in taking party positions, leadership positions, are working their way out to ensure that whatever they aspire to achieve, they will be able to achieve it. And definitely, you need to work with people. You need to work together to ensure that your vision is achieved.
I see.
And if this amounts to cracks, for me, it's rather a motivation to enhance party members to work.
Finally, so for you, people talking about their intentions in the media does not disturb the party's rebuilding efforts?
Not at all. Not at all.
As others are claiming that they think that they should wait and put the pieces together before coming out.
Well,
that's a consensus of
the party has a timetable now. And once the timetable is out, definitely people need to start preparing. Okay? Yes. And you don't have to wait till it's time for, let's say, the regional Congress, and then on that day you declare yourself that you have the intention to run. No. This is the time for people to start reorganizing themselves, trying to mobilize support for the intentions that they have. And I believe that it has not taken out any, or it has not take away any, interest of any member of the party. No, we are all satisfied.
All right, I'm grateful. Let's move to the Finder and the Daily Statesman this morning. I traveled with 7 vehicles, not 16. Dr. Bawumia talking there. The Statesman also has the same story that says that Bawumia's convoy is made up of 7 vehicles. Office of the Vice President sets record straight. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has dismissed the claim that his convoy is made up of 16 vehicles. In a statement issued on Saturday, Dr. Bawumia said his team uses the maximum of 7 vehicles for trips outside the capital, Accra. The Office of the President was reacting to comments by Professor Stephen Newday, who claimed he personally saw 16 four-wheel drives during a visit to the central region. That's Dr. Bawumia's convoy. The former GIMPA rector has said that he will stage a one-man protest anytime he sees the vice president with that number of vehicles. Now, he said that if you go to the right quarters, tell them that the next time I see Bawumia or any of them traveling with 16 four-wheel drives occupying the 2 lanes, I'm going to do a one-man crusade. That's Professor Ade's concern. The Office of the Vice President reacted to the story and said that that isn't the case. According to the Director of Communications at the Office of the Vice President, the Vice President team uses the maximum of 7 vehicles for trips outside the capital. He said that these 7 include leading police team, security detail, protocol, the media team, and then an ambulance. However, that's the reaction, says that what Professor Ade saw might be police commander of the area, some ministers, members of parliament, MMDCs, chief executives, and party officials who may decide to join or meet the vice president convoy on arrival. Well, that's the story so far. But I wanted to try, let's take a look at our political leaders, and this is what Professor Adai saw. The convoys and political leaders' travels, some have said that it is a drain on our resources, because these are fuel guzzling vehicles that consumes fuel like any other thing you can think about. Is it something we can deal with?
Well, it is something that we can deal with depending on our psyche as a nation.
Cut the number of vehicles?
Yeah, for me, well, for the president, he needs certain number of vehicles to travel with. Definitely, the number should be managed. But the question I want to put forward is, in the central regional tour that this issue came about, what was it about? To present a bus to a school. And I asked myself, what is the cost of moving the whole convoy from Accra to present a bus to a secondary school? This thing could have been done by the Education Service on behalf of the Vice President. Simple, at no cost to the entire nation, okay? But we managed to organize a convoy to the central region for this singular objective. And Prof making an allusion that he saw about 16 vehicles. The Vice President's communication team is also saying is 7. But the question is, if the Vice President is saying that there were other vehicles from other ministers,
chief executives,
were those vehicles their individual vehicles? Were those vehicles not state vehicles? So it amounts to the same thing. They were still vehicles that were drawing fuel from our resources. So whether it was 7 or 16, once they have admitted that, yes, at a point, ministers, deputy ministers, and other government appointees,
including the police commander of the area,
were all following. These were vehicles drawing fuel from the national purse. So, is it different from what the Prof has just stated? It's the same thing. What we need to do is rather to curtail the number of vehicles that we go out with. What prevented, in fact, when they were leaving Accra, they left with 7 vehicles. That's what they were.
That's according to the Vice President's story.
So, in returning, do they have to return with 16 vehicles? No. So definitely what the person sees, that is what the person will report. So, Mr. Vice President, this is a genuine concern by a good citizen of this country. We need to accept it and then work around it. And then that will make the people understand that, yes, we are ready to change.
This issue goes beyond just the first and second gentleman of the land. On weekends, at funerals, at ceremonies, social activities, you find public vehicles. Now, because of the green number plate, they are easily identifiable. They are parked at funerals. And it will interest you to know that the officer using it is now sitting in the stands. The engine of that car is still running for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours until the ceremony is ended. Is it a national canker that we should begin to look at, particularly when we want to deal with our meager resources?
It is because we don't control the movement of vehicles within the ministries, departments, and agencies. And people also use that for their personal gain. Yes, what you said is very true. During the weekends, you see a lot of state vehicles moving about, and you ask yourself, sometimes they'll tell you they went on, let's say, a
official
conference.
Duty.
Exactly. But at times, too, you see these vehicles and you realize that, no, this is not an official duty. But the question is, how do we control the movement of vehicles? Do we even have logbooks in our various institutions that take track of vehicles that move in and move out? Just recently, you quite remember when the MPP came into office, the issue of stolen government vehicles came up. And the first question I asked was, do we have logbooks that we use in logging out in and out of vehicles that are in our possession? If we have those things, then we can track the movement of the vehicles within these agencies. But we don't do it. We don't do it. Sometimes they even withdraw fuel and they cannot even account for the fuel that has been withdrawn. If you look at the public accounts auditor's report, most of the infractions that emanate from some of the ministries, departments, and agencies are as a result of unaccountable fuel that has been withdrawn. And what accounts for it? Some of these things that you are talking about. So there's a lot of work for us to do as a people if we really want to curtail expenditure so that the resources that can be harnessed will be used for something profitable.
All right, let's see. The last time I checked, there was a directive, I think it was under the late Professor Mills, for these vehicles to be parked at 6 o'clock. TV3, I remember, monitored some ministries to find out if these vehicles were indeed parked. The directive was actually adhered to until at a point when it fizzled out. But let's see how it happens. Let's move on. The Finder has a story that I quickly want us to take a look at. The government has maintained a producer price of cocoa for the 2017-2018 season at 7,600 per ton, the same as paid to farmers in the 2016-2017 season. This is equivalent to 475 cedis per bag of 64 kilogram gross weight. The prices took effect from October 13, which marks the beginning of the 2017-2018 cocoa season. The Minister of Food and Agriculture, who is the chairman of the Producer Price Review Committee, said the price was maintained despite the drastic decline in cocoa prices on the international market. Now, if you take a look at page 6 of the Statesman, there's a story here that says that Cocoa Board is likely to face $280 million shortfall. Now, the reason, according to the paper or the story, says that Ghana's cocoa regulator is facing a 1.25 billion cedis budget shortfall for the new harvest, as the world's second biggest producer of the beans plans to keep farmer pay unchanged even after global prices slumped, according to two people familiar with the matter. At a forecast crop of 850,000 metric tons for the new season through September, the Cocoa Board will lose 1,481 cedis per ton after all expenses are paid, said the people who asked not to be named because they are not authorized to speak publicly about the matter. So that is a story. The regulator will incur the loss even as it plans to cut back on infrastructure spending and fees for authorized buying agents, said the people. Honorable Tetechai, so cocoa prices maintained. The worry is that world prices are down, and so not reducing what we pay our farmers will cause Cocoa Board to lose $280 million in its budget proposal.
For me, the new cocoa season is going to be a very bad one for our cocoa farmers.
Why?
In the sense that the current economic hardship in terms of high prices of goods and services, and for them not being given any increment on the produce that they are going to bring out at the end of the day, clearly indicates that their spending is going to increase, but then the resources that they are going to get will be the same. Assuming I produce, let's say, 100 bags every year, and I earn, let's say, 10,000 Ghana cedis for the production. I use this 10,000 to take care of family needs, let's say, within the year. Now, prices of goods and services have gone up. Electricity, water, transport, everything is gone up. I'm still going to be paid the same amount, which means at the end of the year, I'm going to earn the same 10,000 Ghana cedis. It means that, one, my purchasing power is going to go lower. I will not be able to do the very things I did for my family over the year. It means, therefore, that the cocoa farmer is going to suffer this year as a result of the price not being increased and then being maintained at the old price. That notwithstanding, government says, well, the prices have gone down, but we still insist that that was why we had a fund. That fund was supposed to cater for the needs of cocoa farmers when the prices go down. But those resources are not being used for the intended purpose. And to make matters worse, the fertilizers that were subsidized, now we're giving to these farmers at, let's say, free, are now being subsidized, which means the farmers are now being made to pay some amount of money for these same fertilizers, which means the farmer is also going to suffer another setback in terms of the resources that he has to spend within the year.
So even though the prices were not increased, and what was paid last year is maintained, the farmer would have to buy fertilizer. That's exactly the point you're making.
Yeah, from the same amount of money that he's going to earn. So the plight of the cocoa farmer within this cocoa season is very, very bad. Very, very bad. And most of the cocoa farmers are really complaining for the situation they find themselves now. Because government should have supported them in terms of continuing with the free fertilizer scheme, so that even if the prices were maintained and you are giving them free fertilizer, then at least you've made them halfway. But whilst the prices are not being increased, they are also paying for fertilizers. So what have you done to the cocoa farmer?
Could we have increased the price when, for instance, our neighbors just across the border, Ivory Coast, has cut the farmer pay by about 36%? Once world prices are down, government should have just cut the producer price instead of...
The question is, at what price is the produce being given to farmers in Côte d'Ivoire? What incentives do they get as farmers? So if the price has been kept where they are reduced, what incentives are the cocoa farmers in Côte d'Ivoire getting? That is what we need to know. And we can do the comparison.
I see. Let me introduce my second guest, the NPP's National Nasra Coordinator, Kamadin Abdullah, has just joined me. Good morning.
Good morning, Bright.
I hope you're doing great.
I'm doing terrific.
You have been missing.
It's unfortunate I don't get visa here. I've applied for visa separately and I'm not getting visa.
Really? It's a free visa.
I'm sure there was
visa here. So
I'm sure there was a moratorium.
Maybe you didn't apply.
There was a moratorium on the issuance of visas. On the issuance of visas to TV3.
Our visa is always free. You don't. In fact, you don't need to apply.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just walk in.
Unfortunately, I don't have that passport.
No, you have to check your outfit. Okay.
Anyway,
welcome once
again. It's a long time.
Yes,
how are you doing?
We're great.
But you're doing good.
Yes,
you're doing so
great.
good. I've been monitoring and I've always been excited.
And we're
happy
20
about
years.
It. You're 20 years, yes. 2 decades.
Yes.
You're 2 decades. Anyway, I will say a very good morning to my brother Tete Chai and good morning to you. Good morning to the crew here. You're doing so well. Johnny, is Johnny around?
Johnny will be joining us very soon.
Anyway,
were you on the field?
And a very good morning to my 2 darling deputy ministers, Joe Penka and also Kojo Ponkruma. 2 darling deputy ministers. I mean, excellent chaps, beautiful, well cut out deputy ministers helping to churn out the good governance that the party has actually put in place, or the government has put in place.
I'm grateful.
Good
Come on,
morning to them.
let's jump into the cocoa topic this morning. So, the cocoa prices have been maintained. The other issue is that because of the world prices, the cocoa board might run into some difficulties because world prices keep dropping. The concerns, one of which is this, that, well, government could not increase the cocoa prices. The farmer is now paying for fertilizers, and so the farmer will be worse off. If you cross the other side, Ivory Coast has reduced cocoa prices to the farmer by about 36%. Some would argue that indeed government here has done well based on what Ivory Coast is doing.
I think you've just hit the nail right. When coming in, I was listening to my brother to the chat, and it's about time we realize that commodities like cocoa, which help soar up our foreign exchange as a country, should not overly be given the political currency, as it were. Why am I saying this? Clearly speaking, this country will strive very well if we're able to increase our, foreign exchange, base in terms of liquidation, or what we have as capital in terms of foreign exchange. Because we go to borrow in that hard currency. Now, having borrowed in that hard currency, you expect that your exports should be able to fill up the gap so that at least you can come to create a balance to help your economy survive. That myself and Tete Chai would agree. That myself and those who are watching us out there who are economists would agree. Now, if that is a situation, and clearly the ratio being put here, or the reason being cited for the prices of cocoa, as it were, being maintained in our country, is that go to the international market. Hitherto, we had over $3,000 going for metric ton. Today, as you and I speak, over $1,000 is out of the price of cocoa. It's now about $2,000. Now, if you have $2,000 as the price, then you tell me economically it is prudent for me to increase the cocoa producer price in this country. I think you are not doing economics. You see, we have come to realistically run this country prudently. We have come to transparently inform people that this is what the case is. And if it is this way, this is the way we are going to cushion the plight of the farmer. And the plight of the farmer is going to be cushioned by the fact that we maintain the prices of cocoa, as it were, by not reducing it by 36%, just like our neighbors in Côte d'Ivoire have done. I listened to the Agric Minister, and I was so full of praise for him. and full of praise for the Cocoa Board as well. Because they had sat down, thought about the farmer. Today, my good brother sits here and tell me that they are buying fertilizer and they are doing this. Ask him how poor it was when they said they claimed they were embarking on a distribution of fertilizers. Well, the news was all over. First, people were citing nepotism and favoritism. Secondly, people were citing even the fertilizers not being there for them to buy. So producers or farmers in this country have always bought fertilizer. So when you use that to shoot down the measure that has been put in place by government to get the farmer continue to be in good business, I think it's rather unfortunate for all of us. Clearly, the Ghanaian who is watching me, the Ghanaian who is listening to you this morning, knows that the world market prices of cocoa has fallen drastically. And that is a fact. And the farmer who is watching me knows about this. Having known this, what is the government of the day doing? Government of the day says, look, if I were buying it, or if there was a situation where I was buying it for, say, 100 cedis from you, I still want to maintain the 100 cedis, irrespective of the fact that this is the situation on the ground and in the international market. What else are we going to talk about? Government has actually cushioned the plight of the farmers. Hitherto, we had people, we had government who were very insensitive to the plight of people, and they will reduce the prices. We haven't done that.
The farmers having to buy fertilizers,
yes.
Is that not a worry?
Well, I think in the course of my submission, I did say that clearly, if you say you have a policy in place which says that you are supposed to embark on distribution of free fertilizer to farmers, or cocoa farmers if you like, today, you go on the ground and the people tell you, I don't even get the fertilizer. It tells you, no, I'm talking about then.
Yeah.
Then, even though it's free,
they are not
absolutely. So it means that invariably they were buying fertilizers. So it is not the first time cocoa farmers or farmers are buying fertilizer. But let me be quick to add. I'm aware. I'm not too sure what my brother Tetecha is saying. I'm aware that we maintain this policy of ensuring that fertilizer is given to us, to cocoa farmers. We also subsidize fertilizers heavily for, if you like, peasant farmers who are found in the north and other areas in the Volta region and somewhere. We have done that. Now, look, I even had to go to this, but there's this program called, this AMG company who are into this fertilizer distribution and heavily subsidized. When you take their sample budget, it was clear. And when you go to Ministry of Agriculture, it's clear that under the Planting for Food and Jobs, fertilizer has been heavily subsidized by this government, and farmers are enjoying this. So when we come and sit here and paint a picture as though nothing like that is on the ground, it's unfortunate.
Well, right.
Very unfortunate.
Right. I never said fertilizers are not being subsidized.
Yes.
I think I made it clear.
Yeah.
But the difference between subsidy and giving the fertilizer free to the farmer, that is what I talked about. Look, I may decide. Let's do the analysis and see whether, as we talk today, the cocoa farmer has not been impoverished as a result of this policy. Because look, Bright, if you need, let's say, about 100 bags of fertilizer to, let's say,
work on your farm,
and it will cost you 10,000 Ghana cedis for that fertilizer. And government says, look, you have to pay half of that price, okay? And I will maintain the cost of buying the cocoa as it is, okay?
I won't increase
it. Now, in another country, they are saying, look, we'll give you all the incentives for you to enable you grow, okay?
But I'll reduce the price.
But we'll reduce the price.
It's still the same.
No. It's never the same. You are looking at, in terms of quantum, how much is the cocoa farmer losing? And that is what we are looking at. Today, if you go to the cocoa farming areas, they will tell you that they are really suffering because they have to pay for fertilizer. Okay? And that can even affect the production that we all want to see as a nation. The cocoa subsidy that is being done today, haven't we heard of arrests that have been made of people smuggling even the subsidized cocoa fertilizer?
Those are illegalities.
Exactly.
And those are not.
So you don't use that
and the president,
to justify.
Those are illegalities.
Wait, you don't use that to justify the fact that because when it was given to farmers free of charge, people were smuggling. And so therefore, the subsidy is a way of making sure that it becomes efficient. Well, what is that argument?
It doesn't
hold.
We have basic facts.
I'm grateful.
We have.
The farmers are suffering.
I'm grateful. But finally, before we leave this one, but the finance minister is, however, hinting, but the statesman is saying that the finance minister said in Washington that government cannot continue to keep the prices unchanged indefinitely. And we have to decide on whether we're going to subsidize or whether we're going to make a decision on reducing the producer price, which is very difficult. That's what Mr. Oforiatta is saying. So does it suggest that eventually the prices will come down if the world market price doesn't?
Once again, there's always at a point in time in making sure you instill physical discipline in your economy, the bitter pill to swallow.
So the cocoa farmers.
Let me make my point, please. Okay. I'm saying that in your quest to ensuring that physical discipline is actually given a hallmark or seen as a hallmark, and that your economy will strive, at a point in time, the truth must manifest. And truth manifesting quickly means the bitter pill to be swallowed. You see, indeed, going by the story of the statesman, if the statesman did say that, look, this is what the finance minister said, I have no doubt at all that we have a finance minister who is very prudent in terms of managing this economy. We have an economic management team who are very prudent. Of course, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia chairing it. We all know, the prophet of economics. They are doing immensely well. And if, of course, this indication is coming out, let's ask ourselves, clearly, take politics out of it. I go to buy this phone, say 10 cedis from Tete Chai. My expectation is that I'm going to sell it, say 11 cedis to get 1 cedi out of it. The next moment I go to the Chai tells me it's 11 cedis. Everybody knows I'm selling for 11 cedis. Am I supposed to continue selling at 11 cedis as a business, to stay in business? No. Which he knows and I know. Which the one watching us knows. These are basic economics. So if these indicators are coming out to say that, look, this is what the situation looks like in the world market, it's not as if the government is going to be insensitive to the plight of the farmer, insensitive to the plight of the Ghanaians. No, the government says that let us look at it squarely on the face of what we have as a country and where it will move on. Then this indication comes. We are not there yet. I'm not sure we are jumping the gun to even discuss this matter because we are not even there yet. There's a possibility of the prices of the goods, even of cocoa, going up. And it's going up. Obviously, we might not even come down. We might even increase producer prices. Of course. So this is just, we are only building hypothesis on this matter. Anyway.
Right.
Johnny,
you
get that?
Right. Yeah. To conclude, you see, when governments take money from cocoa farmers to invest on their behalf, so that at times that prices fall, those resources will be used to cushion them. And then that day of reckoning comes, and then government decides that, no, we are not going to do that. Then it becomes a problem.
The Agric Minister says that the paper says the chairman of the Price Review Committee is saying that the stabilization fund, that's how he puts it, is inadequate to...
You see?
To be used to, I'm trying to get...
No, but that's the same thing I'm saying. We're not saying that.
But that is what you told the farmers. Then look, let me take your money. Let me put this money down. When prices fall,
how much has been taken?
I'll use that resources. Hold on. I'll use those resources to support you.
Okay, he's saying that the world prices have reduced so much to an extent that the stabilization fund is not enough to cushion farmers and other stakeholders in the domestic.
So why is that resources not being used to make sure that they get the fertilizers free?
All right.
Because that is why they paid for that fund.
Johnny, let's come in.
Interesting. Kamal is not a youth organizer here, but we don't see him anymore.
Really? He said his visa was expired.
I was asking Bright if there was a moratorium on
there's a man on this discourse. Not from this house, outside this house.
No, this house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, good morning.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Let's get into the chat.
I think your forensic investigation is working well.
Okay. Good morning. I think the government has to establish policies on how much those who sell the gas should be paid, because some of them are paid as little as 100 Ghana cedis a month, which is never enough for them. Due to some of them try to overwork, trying to make personal money without caring about the business. So please advise that these people are paid well, because working over there alone has put your life at risk. Thank you very much. Stonewall is a very critical point to raise. If the people are not well paid, they would want to do extra, and in doing extra, their vigilance would levels will drop. Good morning, Bright. Come to Wa, where 2 student hostels and 2 hostels called Blue Hill and Sembi Lodge are sandwiched in between 2 gas and 2 filling stations just 3 meters away. I think any disaster of that sort in the Upper West region would not be far from that place. So the EPA and the fire service must resettle the gas filling station to another site for safety of the Ghanaian people. Thank you, Ofori Ewa. Very interesting one there. Masaudu Bantama and Sedaban says, all what the NDC is seeking is to paint the MPP government black to indoctrinate Ghanaians so that they will have their way back to power. But Ghanaians are now awake and wiser than the NDC propaganda team. So no matter what Ghana will surely deliver under the leadership of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo. Good morning, TV3. Trust me, we're going to discuss this gas explosion for at least 2 weeks, and that's going to be the end. Bashir Risa from Pusigai with Dana. Well, we hope that this time it will not be talk shop. Alhaji Mashoud in Tamale says, good morning to you all. Cabinet directive on future gas disaster should be one-day talk. They must walk the talk. It should not be, you mean. Good morning, Bright. It is always no surprise that Akufo-Addo and his party always fails in every decision they take. Senior Bright, in any case, this explosion issue, is it about making new policies and gratuitous promises, or just enforcement of the already existing laws? This president is not trustworthy at all, because the very thing he said, it turns out to do the opposite. Now, you want to shut down filling stations and ongoing construction and so forth. Also, you want to put more pressure on domestic users of gas. The implications here is that if you don't have money to fill it fully, it means you cannot use it per the new directive that the MPP president Aristotle na gas is here. You cannot thought. Buy in full. What is all that? Kwesi Ronalds from Agona Odobeng says the NDC needs serious reshuffle of their current leadership in order to be strong contenders, because the MPP is so resilient. We in MPP think a stronger and credible opposition will shape us. Okay, Tetecha, that's for you. Good morning, TV3. It is a shame on us Ghanaians. Ghanaians occupying positions are to think ahead of situations like this. We let it happen before we start to think. This is Ghana's attitude. From Emmanuel in Adoni Krom and that's about the last one. A.U. Farouk in Tamale says, yes, the presidency is using a large number of vehicles. It is a waste of the state resources. The call by Professor Stephen Adair is a call in the right direction. I'm sure the vice president has debunked that. He says he's not using too many vehicles. I don't know. Yeah. Senior Bright, the way you are blinking your eye, maybe I'll do this one. Hi, Bright. I think Professor Adair has shared dislike for people of the northern extraction. Not long ago, he said JM was sparking his government with Northness. Here again, Baumia convoy is too long. What about Nana Danko Akufo-Addo? This criticism should have been across the board. Well, I don't think that the focus was to says, well, the Honorable is tackling the matters very nicely and sincerely, but I believe he will do the same when the NDC is also in power. TV3, please remind the MPP that newly trained teachers are still in the house. Francis from Kajimi in the Water region. Well, Tetechai has a penchant of being very objective. As for that, I will say that.
Really?
Yes. Come on. It's the same way the MPP believes you can become a national youth organizer. It's the same way. It's the same way.
So it's subjective.
So
it's subjective.
That is
that's what you're saying.
That is my opinion.
All right.
I'm really surprised.
Okay. I'm grateful, gentlemen. We'll have to wrap up here. Kamaldeen is the NPP's National National Coordinator. Of course, I'm sure he's lacing his boots for a higher position.
Almost there, anyway.
Yes, almost there. Yes.
Almost there.
The boot is always through.
The last time I checked,
the embargo must be lifted.
There's an embargo here.
No, that's why there's no embargo.
It's coming from outside.
No, it's not true.
I think it's not. But you see, it has to do with myself not also being so much available.
Right.
Traveling outside, traveling in.
Then we want to see you often.
But I'm going to come off.
Honorable T.T. Tai is the former member of parliament for the Ablekuma Central constituency, a member of the NDC. Grateful for your time, gentlemen, this morning. Now, let's get back to the atomic blast. Now, 14-year-old Daniel Lai, who died as a result of the atomic gas explosion, has been laid to rest at Ajirigano here in Accra. The mother of the deceased wants government to be up and doing in enforcing safety measures regulating the operations of fuel and gas stations. Catherine Frimpoma was at the burial service.
People will live with the pain, and some of those who have lost property will have a difficult time recovering. But for the families of the deceased, life will never be the same.
It is a different thing having to read about a disaster, and it is another thing having to live through it. Obviously, friends, colleagues, and family of little Daniel Lai, 14-year-old, who passed away through the atomic junction gas explosion, having to live through the pain that comes with losing a dear one.
Daniel Lai, 14-year-old JHS 3 student of the Brookwood International School, met his untimely death on his way from classes that day.
Not hearing from him the night before the thing happened, I was disturbed. So when it happened, I have to walk all the way from here to the place because he comes from Hacho to here, this place. So we didn't see him, so I thought maybe he slept over a friend's place. So the next day we called his friends. They were like, they didn't see him, so we have to go around the police station. Until someone told us he saw that a car knocked him down. So we rushed to the hospital. We saw him there. To me, in a way, it's still like a dream to me.
His death remains a shock to his teachers and classmates.
I was surprised. I was shocked. In fact, I couldn't do anything at that moment.
When was the last time you saw him?
That was Friday.
He came to school on Friday, and we even had games together. He plays basketball, so we all play together. Little did we know that he will not come back to school.
Joyce Entry is Daniel's mother.
I plead
with Nana Akufo-Addo to really look at the siting of gas stations. It is killing people.
The 7 people who died in the disaster included a cameraman with Net2 TV, Mohammed Ashley Yakubu, and Mrs. Beatrice Finn, a trader at Medina Market. Beatrice's husband was with her on the night of the incident and recounts how she died.
When we closed from work, that we were coming home. So on reaching the junction, the market junction, that is where the explosion happened. So we saw a huge flame of light in the skies. We saw people running towards race junction. So we have to return. So we were on the pavement running together with my wife. But it was a little bit ahead of me. So all that I had was boom, a car has knocked about 3-4 people down. So there and there, I was at the scene. She was unconscious.
Queen, the eldest daughter, shared fond memories of her mom.
Sometimes we can't even go straight to our daddy because we are scared. He doesn't talk. So we talk to our mom, like bribe her and stuff like that. Then she'll talk to our daddy. So she was our everything. We didn't need anything from outside.
They want the government to show some concern in these trying moments.
Not only this family, there are other families outside there. The government should just compensate us so that we feel we are part. They care about us.
The havoc wreaked by the atomic gas explosion was no doubt enormous. 7 persons died and over 150 others with varying degrees of injuries. As of Tuesday, October 10, majority of those who sustained injury had been treated and discharged from the various hospitals. The Kekeli Hospital had discharged all 23 persons rushed there on the day of the incident. All 14 persons sent to the Medina Polyclinic had also been discharged. 16 out of the 26 persons taken to the Rich Hospital were still on admission, while 10 had been discharged. The Legon Hospital had only 2 out of the 35 persons still on admission. 2 persons had died at the 37 military hospital. 27 out of the 40 persons had been discharged, leaving 11 on admission. The Pentecost Hospital had discharged all 48 persons. 2 had died.
It was a lady and a gentleman. The lady passed on shortly after she reached us. She was just gasping for breath. She had suffered multiple injuries. I suppose that includes a neck injury, and I'm sure that could have possibly killed her. I think the autopsy will reveal the actual cause of death, but she sustained a head injury and some fractures. She actually did not have any burns on her body.
Doctors explained some of the injured could be on admission for more than a year. Never Again became the song of the entire country when the June 3 disaster struck. Right after the disaster, promises were made and directives issued. 3 years on, 8 of such disasters have occurred, but the narrative has not changed.
We owe it to the country, and the government is going to take this very seriously. Discussions were being held last night about the way forward. We wouldn't preempt too many things, but some new policies are going to come in. And those who will try to resist those new policies, I don't think they will be listened to.
It is time these incidents came to a stop in Ghana. We cannot continue with them. We are going to have to come out with a clear policy on how to prevent such incidents in the future.
Unfortunately, it is human. Human beings don't learn their lessons very well. I would have wished that when it happened at first, and we say never again, those who are involved in the sales of gas and fuel should consider the human aspect of it. We shouldn't put the blame on government. We ourselves should be responsible.
For how long are we going to look on as individuals perish in preventable disasters?
So a lot of tears, anguish, pain and wailing. But unfortunately, none of these can bring back little Daniel. Neither can it be an assurance of these things not happening again. The only thing that can help is a more pragmatic approach to dealing with this issue once and for all as a country.
For TV3 News, Catherine Frimpoma, Accra.
It's time to talk about tree planting, afforestation and deforestation. And talking to me, I have Rosalind Fosue-Jay. She's the Deputy Head of Climate Change Unit at the Forestry Commission. I also have Raymond Kofi-Sechi. He's Red Plus Knowledge Management Officer. As you can tell, it's a mouthful. Anyway, good morning, guys. Welcome to TV3 Newday. So we're going to talk about trees. But I don't know about you. I mean, when it comes to trees, everyone just looks at forest. We don't think about the little trees we plant in our homes, which actually make an impact. Exactly. Let's talk a little about planting. Why should I plant?
Well, thank you very much, Anama. You should plant for various reasons. Right. Because the trees are doing us a very good job here on Earth. You know that from the little photosynthesis that we learned in school, trees do use carbon dioxide for their food, and it's one of the ingredients. Now, as they use this carbon dioxide, they're actually removing it from the atmosphere. This carbon dioxide, according to a lot of research, is one of the greenhouse gases. I mean, I think the number one that is leading a phenomenon we call climate change. And the more we have this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the more we get warmer temperatures. So then over about a 30-year period, the particular temperature conditions in a region, yes, or weather conditions begin to change. So when you expect rains, I mean, as we see even in Ghana now, the rains don't set in. When you expect that this time around the sun should shine, it doesn't. So it's affecting even our farmers and the way their production is ongoing. So I mean, trees have a lot of benefits. I mean, not just even for the climate change, for the communities that depend on the forest resources as well. They go into the forest for non-timber forest products such as nails, mushrooms. We get our mortars and pestles for our fufu. I mean, so it's a lot of benefits that are coming together from the whole tree planting exercise. And as you talked about, when you have a tree around your house, it serves as a rain break. When there is a storm, I mean, it takes a lot of that particular momentum that is coming from the storm, and you don't get to suffer the shock so much with your house. So if you monitor the trends, people who have trees, I mean, unless of course it's too close to the house anyway. So
because then it will break onto the house.
Exactly, and then that becomes another issue. But if you have the right planting distance, I mean, your roofs don't get easily ripped off when you have the tree. So trees have a lot of benefit to us. Yes.
But let's go a little into RED Plus. What exactly does RED Plus stand for, and what is it aimed at achieving?
Okay, RED Plus is an acronym. And the RED, which is REDD, and then there's a plus at the end. The R stands for reducing, the E is emission from deforestation and forest degradation. So that is the DD. Then the plus is we are saying people should plant trees, so we are trying to conserve and enhance forest carbon stock. And also the sustainable forest management. Means that we are not saying we shouldn't cut trees. You should cut them, but you should cut them sustainably. You should pass through the right channel before you cut your tree. And then when we talk about RED Plus, actually is under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It's just a mechanism which actually serves as an incentive for developing countries to reduce their emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. In Ghana, we've signed on to this RED Plus since 2008, and then we've been working on the ground since 2008. So it's not like we are sleeping. We're getting ready to start implementation. And as part of activities, when you're trying to get ready, you have to create a lot of awareness. So we have a lot of awareness creation activities, which include the Red Eye campaign. This is targeted at the youth. So we try to create awareness among the youth also. We also have community.
I'm interested in that. How are you doing that? Technology? What exactly?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, we have a Twitter page. And then we also go to the communities. Last year, at Enyinem, we had a lot of schools coming around. We had a float. We were making a lot of noise on the street. We had a lot of traffic, blocking traffic and all that, try to create awareness among the youth. Yes, and then we also go, anytime they have a program, they call on us, we go, and then we give a little lecture, we have a little seminar. Yes, that is for the Red Eye campaign. Yes. And for the community consultations, we go into the communities, we engage the farmers, we get their feedback, we come and shaping our activities, and then we do a lot of stuff. I think maybe my boss would like to add.
Definitely, Rosalind, if you talk some more about it. But wait, Raymond said something about following certain processes in cutting trees. What exactly are those processes? Because people cut trees rampantly.
Okay, so probably I added to, my response. When you talk about RED Plus, as Raymond rightly explained, it's a UN framework. So what is happening is climate change, as I mentioned in my introduction, has become very, very topical. Now, different sectors are contributing to this climate change. So the energy sector, waste sector, transport, and forestry is one of them. RED Plus is solely for the forestry sector, but then it is not just the forestry sector involved. It's a lot of other people coming on board. So when Ghana began its RED Plus discussion in 2008, we actually formed the National RED Working Group, made up of different ministries. We have energy there, agriculture is there, the chiefs are there, we have a local community rep, we have civil society actors, we have the Attorney General's Department, and yes, all those people come together to form the National RED Working Group. And what this group does is it provides the necessary advice on how we should move forward. As you mentioned, people just go about cutting trees. We have identified different factors that are contributing to deforestation and forest degradation in Ghana. Critical of them: illegal logging, agricultural expansion, illegal mining, and then wildfires. all these deplete our forest resources. Right. And they are not just being done because people feel that it's a hobby. It's a livelihood need.
It is.
So that is why when we talk about REDD+, I mean, somebody might say, oh, you started in 2008, what have you done? We need to get people ready. We need to sensitize. And if you're saying that somebody should stop logging illegally, you should provide an alternative.
Right.
Even if you are not providing, create the necessary environment. If there should be policy reforms, there should be. If there should be some legal reforms, there should be. Who is going to lead this? That is our mandate at the Forestry Commission as championing this REDD+ agenda in Ghana. And we have done a lot so far. Now we have identified different mechanisms or different programs. Actually, we have a REDD+ strategy that was launched in 2016 that covers the whole of Ghana with different programmatic interventions. So we have something for the high forest zone, for the savanna, for the transition, ways to conserve our biodiversity, to grow more trees. It's a lot of different things coming together, but we need everybody on board. Now, when you mentioned that people cut trees anyhow, actually the Forestry Commission is a regulator. If you identify a parcel of land, be it in a forest reserve or outside a forest reserve, you should approach the Forestry Commission. I want to log these trees for a particular purpose. First of all, we have to go into our management plans. In that particular area, can you even log there? Is it a production forest reserve? Is it a protected area? We have different categories of these reserves. We don't allow logging everywhere. Even if we allow logging there, it's based on a cycle. So if we haven't got into that cycle yet, you can't be allowed to enter. So we are there, open to the public to come to us to access these different resources that we have. But then what is happening is a lot of people circumvent the system, particularly the trees outside the forest reserves. But again, we go back to policy. Now, the current policy is that every naturally occurring tree belongs to the state. So if it's even on my farm, my own private farm, and it's naturally occurring, I mean, I nurtured it, but I don't have any right to it. So government gives it out, yes, and it is felled, and it destroys my farm. So then why don't I connive with somebody to come and take it out illegally? I mean, it sounds right, but it's not right. Now, these are some of the challenges that we have realized exist during this whole REDD+ process. But then they are not just going to go away. We need to let people understand that, I mean, you can't continue doing this. And as they also understand, then the policy also needs to go through some reforms.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, it's a give and take. We can't expect so much from the ordinary Ghanaian when we don't put in our bit. So, I mean, it's a lot of complexities at play, but then eventually now people are warming up to it. Because even when you talk to farmers, they realize that the weather conditions are changing. And they attribute it to the fact that we have lesser trees than we used to have in the past. So they are willing to come on board. And that is the very important part, when you have all stakeholders willing to come in to play their role.
Yes. Rosen, to go back on that same score, you know, stakeholder engagement, because recently we've been told that some trees were cut down around the National Lotteries Commission, and it was done by local authorities. So in that, you know, instant, we're asking, did you have any collaboration with them to allow or permit this to be done? And that's only one example, but there's so many others. So who then is at fault, and really, is that the right process to follow?
Actually, so it depends on the purpose. Sometimes it's for a national assignment. I don't know about this particular instance you're talking about, but definitely if it's for a national assignment, sometimes some cables are being laid. They have to be taken. Yes, but when they are taken, they are sold. We don't allow the trees just to rot. No. When these trees are sold, there's a levy. So whatever tree is cut down, there's a levy that is put down, something small is taken. That should go back into the forest plantation development coffers so that we can replant. It's not obligatory on the person cutting down the tree to replant. But then whatever revenue we get, yes, we levy something, yes. But in any case, whatever is going to be cut down, the Forestry Commission, especially when it is government to government, it is easier because, I mean, it's for national assignments, so yes, they do consult us. Yes.
Anyway, let's go back to Raymond on REDD+. So the forum, when is it happening? And then what are we supposed to expect from that forum, and who can be there?
Okay, the forum is coming up on 19th of October, just this Thursday. Yes, and the theme for the forum is strengthening law enforcement for effective RED Plus implementation.
Okay.
Yes, and the guest speaker is going to be His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
The president
himself.
The
president himself is going to be there. Yes, and then the forum is actually open to everybody.
Okay.
Yes, but then it is targeted at the high-level policy makers because we want them to get we want to get a political buy-in for the RED Plus program and climate change in general. Yes, so we want everybody to be there. The media, judiciary, parliamentarians, students, teachers, everybody is invited. Yes, and then we are going to discuss, climate change. In Ghana, people have the notion that climate change is not a Ghanaian thing, but we all know, as Rosalind said, yes, the farmers are feeling it now. You and I are also feeling it now. When it rains, it destroys a lot of things. There's flooding, there's drought. So yes, we want everybody to come. We have a lot of discussions. We will see how we can enforce the law, because in Ghana we have a lot of laws, but the problem is
the
enforcement. Yes, so that is why we chose the team. So we want everybody to be there, so that the president himself is going to talk about this. So yeah, we'll hear it from the horse's own mouth. So yes, everybody is invited.
But Rosalind, final word. Would you say over the 8 years? I mean, no, you started in 2008.
So it's almost a decade, actually.
Yes, almost a decade.
Yes.
Are you happy with the progression? Have you seen any drastic changes that makes you feel this is a worthy course to channel?
Yes, we have. I mean, it's been almost a decade of engagement, of sensitization, of consulting people, different stakeholders. And we have had that support. I mean, the first RED Plus forum happened in 2015, actually. And the former president of Ghana, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, was actually the guest speaker in his capacity as the UN Special Envoy on Climate Change at the time. What we gathered from that particular forum, it showed that there was that national essence to this whole process. And from the methodology that we have followed, right from developing the strategy, the different program documents that we want to develop, the people who are part of the National RED Working Group, the feedback that they give to us, and even other sectorial programs. That is the beauty of it. So there is the whole low emissions development pathway strategy that is being developed under the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. The EPA is doing its bit. I mean, the waste sector is doing its bit, the transport sector. I mean, all coming together means that Ghana is particularly serious about climate change issues now. It has taken us some time to warm up to it, but it's not something that is very uncommon anyway. It's so with so many developing countries, because the issue has been that industrialization in the developed countries caused a lot of this climate change, which is true. But then we are in a better position to learn from their mistakes and then, yes, sustainably develop. We shouldn't go down that same trajectory. So the momentum has built up. We are now ready to implement. And even with our very first program, so as we are implementing RED Plus, we are doing it in phases, sort of. We don't want to tackle everything together, because exactly. So the first program is for the cocoa sector, and we have a lot of cocoa private sector actors realizing that yes, deforestation is a big issue, and it is threatening the sustainable supply chain of the cocoa bean. So, I mean, recently, somewhere in March, there was a declaration in London at the Princess Foundation that cocoa companies are saying that we want to end deforestation in cocoa supply chains. This is very good for RED Plus in Ghana, and generally for the forestry sector. So people are warming up. They have actually warmed up to it, and we have made significant progress. Exactly.
Very well. So guys, you've heard us talking about trees. I'm sure they've whet your appetite some way, somehow, to at least plant a tree in your little corner. Do something small. Start small so we can grow big. Anyway, I've been speaking to Rosalind Fosu-Adjei. She's the Deputy Head of Climate Change Unit at the Forestry Commission, and also Raymond Kofi Sechi. He's RED Plus Knowledge Management Officer, and they have RED Plus Forum coming off on Thursday. I hope you'll be there. I'll be there too, to hear a word or two about what policy makers plan to do for us as a nation. Anyway, that's all we have for you. We'll be more with Newday. Stay here with us.
Welcome back. This is New Day live here on TV3. So Tilapia has got something for all of us following the cabinet meeting after the atomic junction explosion. He's put this together. So this looks like the proverbial Moses on the mountain, Mount Sinai, and he has the 10 commandments. I like the president's girdle anyways. And well, the LPG and fuel station owners are watching, and it says no kebab theory. Yeah, there's no kebab theory. It's actually 9 commandments, right? So how come, well, but this is what Tilapia has for us today. Maybe we'll check out some of your messages. Jagos in Sawam says, my name is Jagos. I really love the move by the MPA closing down all those dangerous gas filling stations, because we can't risk our lives each and every day just like that. And I'm urging them to go around the whole country and shut down any dangerous filling station that are in the midst of where people live. For Chagos, interesting one there. Okay, so let's, okay, you said we should keep our dreams alive, eh? Understand to achieve anything requires faith and belief in your salvation, hard work, determination, and dedication. Remember, all things are possible for those who believe. Kamal Day, incoming National Youth Organizer. Okay, yeah, so Kamal has gotten plaudits there. Julius Agahoa Tahiru in Asawasi says, thank God, Reverend Mate, an MPP clergyman. How can you verify that? Well, has found his voice in the corruption that is currently going on in the Akufo-Addo's government. What he said, we must speak against corruption, and we all know that the present government, the MPP, they are corrupt appointees, and president, the leader of the, okay, that's not fair, but yeah, this bad language, certainly. I doubt Reverend Mate is a clergyman of the MPP. Reverend Mate is a clergy of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, and I think that until he says he is not, well, you cannot say he is a clergyman for the MPP. Honorable Kamal Ding is on top of issues. No wonder he deserves to be the National Youth Organizer. The farmers shouldn't be worried, Seth says so. And then one fires back says, Kamal should stop deceiving himself. Ghanaians are far awake now. Baba Musa, thank you very much, Baba Musa, for sending us that message. Says, well, good morning. Bright, I just like this your morning show, so keep it up. Kudos to TV3 as you continue to celebrate this anniversary. Solomon in Nangode, and a very good one to all of you sending us those 20th anniversary messages is very interesting. So it says, good morning, Honorable TT. Please tell Honorable TT to stop playing the propaganda. They are just confused. We were in this country when former President John Mahama took the plane from Accra to different regions, and he conveyed his convoy will drive all the way to meet him at the airport. My regards to Chairman Jerry, our next BA regional chairman of the MPP. Okay, so you say, but is the equalization thing what we need? Ama, do we need to equalize on everything? I mean, really.
No one is scoring points. We're all Ghanaians,
so what's the point?
The good, the greater good of Ghana.
Yes,
there's no point scoring here.
So then I get the impression that the equalization makes it look like, okay, if this politicians do it, then it's fine. I don't get it. Anyway, finally, good morning, Bright. What is Tete Chai talking about? 16 cars and they are complaining. NDC should give us a break. Who never saw the number of vehicles NDC used in their convoy? JK in Tamale. Interesting one there. But we'll be bringing you a conversation. In the meantime, let's say a quick happy birthday to you, Mr. George Quay at the ECG Tema, and also at the Church of Pentecost Makion Temple. Libya Cortez from the Duncan's family. Happy birthday to you. It's a great day. If it's your birthday today as well, make sure you're celebrating it solid. And
still, the traffic light at the Silver Star Tower still goes red for pedestrians and road users. That's vehicles. Kindly do something about it. I don't know what the point is.
And
also, I hear Palm Wine Junction.
Yes, Palm Wine Junction also coming to that.
So please, we know,
3 weeks at Palm Wine
exactly,
Junction.
and you're wondering,
and that's a major intersection.
It is.
So
where we've had accidents happening.
Yes.
If you know the place very well. So I don't know what they're waiting for, because around the Atomic, let's say the Presec Junction, the set of traffic lights there, they were not working after the atomic explosion, and I assumed maybe it was close to the fire, so they. But subsequently, it started working, but other traffic lights far away were not working. And when this happens, you notice the guys take advantage and are directing traffic. And it actually causes more havoc. I don't know why. And they're on big, obvious streets. Let's say Oponglo, Shiashi, that. Why won't the police take over, MTTU? Why don't they man these areas and they leave it to the boys, the guys to do? It's wrong. Kaswa Road, and then the tunnel.
There are no road markings on the Kaswa Road, and it's happening in Dansoman as well. Recently, the roads around Ogle Road have been re-asphalted.
And then they leave the markings.
Road markings. So if you're driving at night and your sight is not good, that's recipe for disaster. I mean, and sometimes...
Johnny, because even when the road markings are there, people are switching lanes as and when they want to. How much more when there are no road markings? It just causes havoc. So please, these are petty things we can do right.
But these are for roads that are being done. How about the Teshi Link Road between the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center all the way to the Manette Junction on the Spintex Road? It needs attention. The pregnant women continue to have miscarriages. We'll have people with lung infections. You're the medical doctor. Tell me, when people inhale that for a long time, what it brings to them.
Children, anyway, most Ghanaians do that. We all are suffering from that.
Yes, children can't go to school when it rains because the place floods. And really, I mean, the last time we had a conversation, we were told that some monies have been advanced for that, but we owe the contractor. So the contractor is reluctant to move onto site because you owe him so much and you're giving him very little. I mean, he has his family to feed, he has his bankers to pay, he has his workers to take care of. So please, Minister for Roads, can you do something more? We want you to finish that. For a road that's 90% done. And then I don't get it.
Johnny, but let me throw back to free SHS as well. We haven't really spoken much about it. I would want to know the situation in some of the schools concerning accommodation, concerning the rooms they use for, say, dining. Because over the weekend, I saw some pictures. I don't know where they're coming from. I wish I could verify. That's why I don't have any conk evidence for you. But if there's a place, you're in a school, or your child is in a school where accommodation is an issue, they're having to be served their meals outside classrooms or whatever situation, that is not right. Kindly let us know so we can see what we can do about it. At least when we make it public, government will be moved to do something.
And speaking of which, the NHIS has also come under a bit of, because we understand some of the hospitals. Yesterday, I got a report from Fingering Cocoa Clinic that, well, they went to a hospital and they were asked to pay almost everything. And I thought that, well, at the OPD, when the public health nurses come to address the crowd, you could perhaps take the advantage and tell them, oh, because of A, B, C, and D, we are not able to take care of this. But then you don't tell them anything. They go through the process, and then you present them with a fat bill, or sometimes you frustrate them. I mean, it's a different thing if the person is healthy and just has come for a routine checkup. But when somebody is on the verge of you're a medical doctor, you're on the verge of that situation, so uncomfortable, and then you have to slap the person with huge amounts of money when he knows that, oh, I have the NHIS card and you should give me space. So good morning to our friends at Cocoa Clinic. I saw the receipt myself. I saw it, receipt, and he showed me the NHIS. So I was curious. I picked the drug list, and then I checked with the prescription, and then I checked with what they had to pay, and I could tell clearly that, look, he had no case charging them money. So if you are tired of the NHIS, just say it. So, but to say that you accept NHIS is boldly put up there, and then we don't get it anyway. But we're told that President Alassane Ouattara is attending upon our president today. They'll be signing an agreement on the ITLO's judgment that we won. Okay, so the roads will be shut, and these are the roads: Kwame Nkrumah Avenue towards the Central Business District, and then the Atta Mills Highway from Jamestown towards Osu, and then the Liberation Road towards the Central Business District. So it's more like a triangle. The roads will be shut at 11 a.m. And then right after the ceremonial procession, it will be reopened to traffic. So traffic has been diverted, and traffic from Liberation Road to use the Kaukudi to Kanda Highway and link up to the Barnes Road on the Central Business District. And then traffic from Achimota should link up to on the Obasanjo Highway through Kanda Highway, and then link onto the Barnes Road to the Central Business. So you reroute through TV3, you reroute through Nima, and you reroute through 37 that way, so you can leave the Jamestown area. So we'll be back on your television tomorrow morning, but I'll be on radio. Speak your mind, 5:30 p.m. We'll be speaking our minds.
But it's still Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so please check your breast. We'll see you same time tomorrow.
No Brad Day, you came to work in, but what is all that?
Guys, just check your breast. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye.
Your wedding can never know.